Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Innovators Showcase at the Smart Protein Summit 2021. I am Nicole Rock, and I work as an innovation specialist at the Good Food Institute India, and I'm here with my colleague Devika.
Hi, everyone. I'm Devika. I'm the Innovation Associate at GFI India.
Over the last year, the sector in India has moved into a critical phase of market activity. The market is just now taking off after years of ecosystem building work and all the disruptions of the pandemic. We've been seeing companies innovate rapidly, looking to move beyond the early adopter market of 50 to 75 million people in the top cities to access a huge target of hundreds of millions more by creating superior products with improvements in taste profiles and price, and through formats that can scale across the length and breadth of the country. We are looking forward to the opportunity to drive broad category awareness in the mass market because of the products being developed. As part of this year's showcase, we are excited to introduce you to companies at the forefront of innovation, cutting across various technology areas. We have entrepreneurs at different stages of product development, working on a range of formats and looking to serve diverse consumer segments. With that, let's get right into it. Devika, do you want to let them know how it goes?
Sure, Nicole. Over the next hour, we'll hear from 5 new Indian innovators about their startups as they gear up to address multiple white space opportunities that the smart protein sector has created, both locally and globally, thereby helping India become a focus market for both investors and major food corporations alike. The format for today's showcase is simple. Each innovator will get the opportunity to present their solution through a 5-minute pitch to their investor panel. Our panel will then have the chance to ask questions about their pitch. The investor panel we have today has been actively tracking the smart protein sector with GFI India's support. Over to you, Nicole, to introduce our panel of investors.
Before we begin and bring out our first innovator, please welcome our panel of investors who will be posing some tough questions today. First, we have Michael Klar, co-founder of BetterBite Ventures, a new VC fund focused on early-stage startups in the APAC region that are using plant-based, cultivated, and precision fermentation technologies to build a better food system. Michael spent 15 years scaling up consumer tech startups in Europe and Asia. He's also an author of the Future Food Now newsletter covering the alternative protein ecosystem in Asia Pacific. Welcome, Michael. Next, we have Samir Shah, managing partner at Peak Sustainability Ventures, a pure-play sustainability VC. He's extremely passionate about sustainability and has a deep domain expertise across verticals, including energy, agriculture, water, and climate, built through his investment experience, operating positions, and industry affiliations over the last decade. Welcome, Samir. Next, we have Priya Shah, general partner at Theia Ventures, a seed stage fund investing in high impact, technology enabled, and climate smart businesses operating across multiple sectors, including smart protein. She has spent 15 years working across the social impact, finance, and policy sectors in the US, UK, and Indian markets. Thank you, Priya, for joining us. Next, we have Nidhi Mathur, venture partner at Axilor Ventures, focusing on incubating innovative ideas under the Axilor Labs initiative. Prior to Axilor, she founded Niramai, an AI startup building a non-invasive, non-touch, non-radiation approach to breast cancer screening. Thank you, Nidhi. And finally, we have Anubha Goyal, an investment associate at DSG Consumer Partners, and India and Southeast Asia's leading consumer-focused venture fund. DSG partners with early-stage founders from idea to concept, helping them build world-class consumer brands. Prior to DSG, Anubha spent time at a leading venture debt fund looking at investments in the CPG and healthcare spaces. Thanks, everyone, for joining us. Let's get started.
Thanks, Nicole. For today's first showcase, we have Pranjali Gerg, co-founder of ProMeat. ProMeat was a finalist at the India Smart Protein Innovation Challenge 2020, launched by GFI India. They are looking to leverage indigenous Indian crops to launch a range of high-protein plant-based meat products. Pranjali, the stage is all yours for the next 10 minutes. Good luck.
I'm Pranjali Gerg. I'm the co-founder of ProMeat, and we are a food tech and science startup. And today I'll be showing you our first innovation, which is a tasty and high-protein plant-based meat. Isn't it shocking that the world will have to feed meats to almost 10 billion people by 2050 and also solve the various problems associated with the conventional meat industry, which include insufficient feed conversion ratios and, most importantly, environmental damage, which is more than the entire transportation sector combined. But with all these problems, we need the meat protein to feed the growing population and meet their protein requirements, right? So to fulfill these requirements and solve the problem related to the current practices, our solution is creating a scrumptious high-protein plant-based meat prepared using indigenous ingredients and alternative plant proteins in a way that they closely resemble the animal-based meats in organoleptic and nutritional properties. So our plant-based meats solve the problems of environmental damage as they require 99% less water during the production and emit 89% less greenhouse gases compared to the conventional meats. Also, they are absolutely free of hormones and antibiotics. And the best part is that they are 100% animal cruelty. And with people becoming more aware, an overwhelming majority of consumers are now moving towards alternative plant-based meats. And considering Indian market, the problem faced is lack of trustable options that fulfill their nutritional needs, maintain the taste and texture of conventional meats, and are also budget friendly. Our product is validated by the future market trends, according to which the global alternative meat market will grow at the rate of 15% CAGR by 2025, and the Asia Pacific market will see a growth rate of 16% CAGR, out of which 10% will be captured by the Indian market, which is going to be a $565 million industry by 2023. And apart from that, 37% of Indians we surveyed wanted to switch to plant-based meats. And with this huge change, we have a huge market in India to tap. Our target market is basically people in age group 18 to 35 who are meat lovers and are looking for affordable, alternative, delicious options. So we have various plant-based meat products in our pipeline made from a blend of different proteins, along with an Indian indigenous crop, which enhances the texture of our product and makes it more fibrous. Apart from that, we have an awesome amount of protein content in our product, which is 65% higher than meat counterparts. Most importantly, all our products are absolutely clean label. So our product has a comparable nutritional profile to that of animal meats and provide approximately 50% of the required protein content per day. The major protein source includes pea protein followed by moong protein and soy protein. So here are a few product pictures of our recent trials at Lipton. We received great feedback on our products. And we also tested our products with India's leading chefs from various different hotel chains. And they loved how our products tasted in their recipes. We will soon be hosting various tasting events to get further feedback. So this is what our journey has been till now. We created our first prototype an year back and went on to win the India Smart Protein Innovation Challenge by Good Food Institute India in December 20. And since then, we have grown a lot in terms of our strategy and product. We also received one grant from Government of India and ProVeg International to scale our brand. And recently, we were incubated by IIT Kanpur in July. And we also got an amazing opportunity to be a part of HSI Human Entrepreneurship Program Cohort 2. So this is the team behind this amazing innovation. We at ProMeat team are on a mission to bring about a mammoth change in the way people consume proteins. Our company name ProMeat is based on the fact that we are totally promoting meat's nutrition. We want people to have that nutrition, but in a more sustainable, healthier, and animal cruelty-free way. And to achieve this great vision, we have an absolutely strong team with two founders having a food tech and management background, and one with good experience of research in food product development. We also have 4 stunning mentors with us. We have Dr. Gaurav, who is assistant professor at Nipton mentoring us. He has tremendous research experience in food technology and meat technology specifically. We also have Frank with us, who's an ex-bowler. We also have Stephanie Downs and Jinesh Shah on our advisory panel. They're both smart protein innovators with over 5 years of experience in mentoring smart protein startups. And to achieve our vision, we need funding support of $400,000 starting next month. 40% of these funds would be utilized on marketing and brand building, followed by 30% on marketing and operations, and remaining on R&D and team building. So we would love to hear from investors out there who find plant-based alternatives exciting and share a common vision. Further, we are looking for the right partners to collaborate with and like-minded people to expand our team. Finally, I'd like to thank the entire GFI team, Varun, Shardun, Nicole, Devika, for all the hard work that they've been doing to build the entire ecosystem and helping startups like ProMeat to flourish. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Pranjali. You just heard from Pranjali and ProMeat's vision for changing the way people consume protein. I'd now like to welcome Pranjali and Debabrata, co-founders of ProMeat, on board for the Q&A session. Let's get started with the first question. We'll take the first question from Priya. Priya, you can go ahead and ask your question.
Yes. Hi, Pranjali. Thanks so much for the insightful presentation. So I just wanted to ask a two-part question. One was, on the actual process, how are the ingredients and the composition of, what you're putting together? How is that different from other players in the market? Is it in the sort of input? So is it in the actual IP process that you're looking at? And the second is on the go-to-market strategy. I think you mentioned in your deck that you have, you're going to be doing these customer trials. But what is the actual launch? Is it a B2B Horeca launch, or are you looking at retail, direct-to-consumer? What's the plan there?
Thank you, Priya, for your question. So starting with the first question. So how we are different from other players is that along with the textured vegetable protein that we are also using a specialized fat, which binds our product, all the ingredients together and does not leak when the product is being cooked. So, and apart from that, about the go-to-market strategy, we are actually planning to move with B2B segment first. So we'll be co-branding with hotels and restaurants, and then we'll be moving to retail thereafter. Debabrata, would you like to add anything?
Yeah, like mostly our formulations is a blend of mix like pea protein, moong protein, and soy protein. So within the mixing, we're going for a yam, which is help us to give the right amount of texture within the product. So,
thank you. We'll move on to the next question now. Samir, if you'd like to ask your question.
Sure. No, thank you. So thank you for this wonderful presentation. I think soya and pea have been around for some time, but moong has been added to the list of, how the people are looking at plant-based proteins as a substitute for meat. I had two questions. One is, how are you maintaining the quality of inputs, number one? And secondly, I think, in terms of the business model, I think Priya has already asked that, but will you be spending, I saw that there was a huge spend for branding. But if you're B2B, then perhaps I thought that the branding would come in later, because if you're selling to the B2B segment, then perhaps that much is not needed. Because I was not sure whether you're making the final product or an intermediate product, because there are companies doing intermediates and final, but is it your product and also the packaging, which means I assume that you are making the final product for the market, but you're not going to go directly but work with a partner.
yeah, thank you so much, Samir, for the question. So basically, we are focusing initially more into the B2B segment to get more feedback from the consumer side. So it will be like some of the products are final product, which you directly can go to the market, like direct to consumer segment. And some of the products are like minced chicken, minced meat. So these are both basically give the chef to do their creativity and cater their own set of customers. So that's why we're exactly moving towards B2B. And simultaneously, we'll start selling our product from our own website. So it will be like a D2C market branding, which is in the ProMeat brand. We want to launch it. So like that we'll move. So it will be like in the B2B segment, we're co-branding with the restaurant chains, and in the D2C market, we'll be like our own brand, which will be built within a time.
Help me out on the quality of inputs, how you're managing the quality of inputs.
Yeah, so we have two base recipes with us. One is with soya and one is soya free. So this with the soya free one, we are not using any kind of soya protein. I would like basically we are using basically yam, pea protein, moong protein, and all the stuff, which is having a good amount of protein content within the product. And on the certification side of it, like we have already done the FSSAI certifications, and we're using all the ingredients listed within that list as well. So we're not using any kind of preservatives or any additives with this.
But
thank you, Debabrata. Thank you, Samir. We'll take the final question from Nidhi.
Yeah, and the question from my side is, if you get the 400K that you're looking for, what kind of milestones do you expect to hit and by when?
Yeah, so we are planning to launch by January. So before that, we want to expand our team. That's the one. And secondly, we want to go for strip-based products, which will be like chicken strips. So for that, we need more R&D and more support in terms of like product development part. And initially, the set of products which we have around 7-8 SKUs, we are ready with us, which we want to launch to the Indian market to get more feedback and build the brand. And then we'll move towards export market as well. So for that, we need the whole funding support, and it's a timeline for next 2 years.
Thank you for that question. Thank you, Pranjali and Debabrata, for the wonderful pitch and great Q&A session. It's great to see ventures like ProMeat that rose from the challenge turning heads in the space. Over to you, Nicole, for the next startup.
Thank you, Devika. Now you will hear from Bharat Pakaraju, founder of Fix44 Labs. Fix is working on creating dairy alternatives from microbes using precision fermentation. They are producing nature-identical, animal-free dairy proteins and fats to recreate milk and its derivatives. Bharat, the stage is all yours for the next 5 minutes. Best of luck.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Fix44, where we make tasty, animal-free, antibiotic and hormone-free, zero-carbon cultured milk from microbes that you cannot distinguish from real cow milk. I'm Bharath, the founder of Fix44. I went vegan over 8 years ago for animal and climate change reasons and have struggled to find good replacements ever since. Traditional dairy tastes great, is very versatile. However, it also contains undesirable components like antibiotics, hormones, and pesticides. Worse still, the animals face extreme cruelty, and the process leaves a devastating impact on the planet. I realized that the lack of true alternatives to dairy is stopping millions of consumers and thousands of businesses from being able to switch or even try. People want the real thing without sacrificing taste, health, or climate. Over 40% of surveyed consumers in US and UK in last year, and an even higher portion in Asia Pacific said they're willing to try lab-grown meat and dairy alternatives. Among the users who currently consume some form of plant-based alternatives, over 80% said they would like a better product. Growing consumer awareness is driving demand, and dairy alternatives in Asia Pacific is expected to be a $15 billion market by 2025-26. That's why we created Fix44 to recreate from scratch milk that has the same taste, is healthier, and is completely sustainable. And the way we've set about doing this is to build each key component of milk from sources that are more efficient than animals, nature-identical casein and whey proteins, and nature-identical milk fats from microbes, and combine them with carbohydrates and the goodness of calcium, you have milk, while completely eliminating hormones and antibiotics. The key part of doing this is actually being able to teach microbes to create what we want, which involves identifying and constructing genes responsible for milk proteins, transforming cells of interest with these genes, and getting the cells to express our protein and purifying them for our use. We are working on 4 host organisms and platforms and have cloned, expressed, and characterized our first cow milk protein from microbes. We are working fast to replicate this for all 6 of the milk proteins to make our first glass of milk. We are a team of passionate scientists, engineers, and builders with a proven track record. 4 out of 8 team members have a PhD. We have all the core skills required: molecular biology, strain engineering, fermentation, purification, and of course, product and entrepreneurship. We also have a panel of successful advisors and mentors with deep background in dairy, in precision fermentation, and cellular agriculture. We're fortunate to be supported by state-of-art biotech incubators and pioneers of alt protein industry in BIV and GFI. We are in R&D stage developing microbial strains. We are on track to complete proof of concept, which is the first glass of milk, by June 2022, build strong IP protection along the way, and be commercially available by 2024. We'll continue to expand our work to improve the yield of our culture, develop proprietary technology that enables us to expand our work into fats, not just proteins, to eventually serve as a platform to recreate great alternatives to other animal-derived foods, as you can see here. Right now, we are raising $2 million seed fund to build our core technology, develop product, IP, distribution strategy, create a path to pilot scale manufacturing. Thank you so much. And we hope you can join us in our goal to build the future food factories of the world. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Bharath, for sharing with us your vision for changing the dairy that we're all familiar with into an alternative that's better for us and the planet. I'd now like to welcome you on board for the Q&A session.
Thanks, Nicole.
For the first question, we have Michael Klar.
Thanks, Nicole, and thanks, Bharat, for the presentation. Hi. So first question is about go-to-market strategy. So when you will launch your first commercial products down the line, will it be under your own brand, or will you be an ingredient provider? If you can elaborate on this. And my second question would be on pricing. How do you see your initial price point in the market and how this will evolve over time, in your opinion?
Sure.
Thanks.
So thanks for the questions, Michael. I can the first one about go-to-market. I think the key aspect of being able to achieve the right product and price parity in the long run is to be able to get to scale fast. And what that means is the ability to scale fast comes with B2B as a go-to-market to begin with. Hence, we are looking at B2B ingredient supplier to companies that are delivering consumer brands, which involve dairy products as our target customers. And of course, having said that, in the long run, we do see that there is value in being able to produce and market directly to the consumers, but that's something that we will look at down the line. Coming to the price point, your second question, I do see that this is an industry similar to some of the industries that came earlier in the energy, solar, and EV sectors. There's a lot of time and investment that would go into achieving true price parity. That's why we believe in the beginning, even though we'll be priced at a premium compared to the other alternatives, and definitely at a much higher premium compared to traditional dairy. Even at that premium, we would likely be loss-making in the first year or 2 years, and we have to bring the cost down all the way down to maybe $20, $30 a kilo for production of protein for us to be able to compete directly with the alternatives. And we see that happening with scale coming in the next few years. Definitely by the turn of this decade, we do anticipate and believe strongly that cell-based and precision fermentation derived ingredients would be able to compete directly with traditional dairy products.
Thanks, Michael. For the next question, we have Nidhi.
Hey, Bharat, thanks for the presentation. You packed a lot of info in 5 minutes, but I want you to step back a little since your idea, the key strength seems to be the IP. Could you spend a few minutes describing how your technology is better than state of the art?
Right. So the straight answer to that, Nidhi, right now is it is not already better. I think it takes time for us to be able to build something. What we have is at parity with what others around the world are doing. We are not yet at parity with the pioneers in this industry, like Perfect Day, for example. But we are definitely at par with the next lot of 3 or 4 companies that are around the world. But we are very focused on IP. Our core motto is that small companies with IP can do to big companies what big companies can do to small companies otherwise, right? So what that means is we have to build IP that will help us either improve the product or reduce the cost or both. And on that front, we are doing a couple of things that are different to others. From the get-go, we are focusing on fats, which is important for the product profile, which no one else is right now doing. They're using plant-based fats to be able to recreate the profile. We will probably follow the same path of using plant-based fats, but our focus on fats from microbes, which are identical to milk fats, is coming from the beginning. And that's one area where we want to generate IP. And second is we are keen on doing 2 things. One is developing our own host organism platform and not rely on licensed platforms to be able to do this thing. And the second is what we hear from companies in cellular agriculture and precision fermentation domain around the world is that after a point, people start hitting the issue with the size of the bioreactors that are available for them to be able to scale. And we have a couple of very innovative ideas that either reduce or completely eliminate the kind of dependence that is there on bioreactors in the future. It's still very early days. In the following 6 to 12 months, you would see some work in that area and potentially provisional IP filed by us. And beyond that, we'll be happy to disclose and discuss more details. I hope that answers your question, Nidhi.
It does to some extent, and obviously we will hopefully have more discussions going forward. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, Nidhi. And finally, we have Anubha for the last question.
Hi, Anubha.
Hi, Bharat. Nice to meet you. I just wanted to check, what are the timelines with the product that you're looking at in terms of when would be the product launch, and when can it become, when can you get actually the first viable product to be tried, and when can you commercially launch it?
Got it. See, the first viable product, or what we are calling POC in our deck, is a glass of milk that is identical. It looks the same, tastes the same. You most likely will pass and not be able to distinguish from real milk, and is safe enough for one to consume from a toxicology point of view. But that is something that we'll get to sooner. We'll get there by Q2 of 2022, which is Q2 of next year. But that doesn't help. That doesn't give us a very immediate and clear path to be able to make that one glass into, say, 1 million or 10 million or 1 billion glasses. That is what is going to take time. In the best case scenario, we anticipate that 36 months from now is when we will be able to go into the market, towards end of 2024. And the market that we are targeting to start with, because of regulatory framework that allows companies like us to operate, is Singapore, followed by the US. Singapore novel food regulations kind of provide companies like us a good platform to be able to build, test a product, get it out to consumers, and then scale forward. So that's what we are looking at. For the second quarter next year, for the first glass of milk, 36 months, which is end of 2024, to be commercially available, either as an ingredient in another product that a B2C brand has developed, or a product that we are able to market ourselves, very likely going to be in the ingredient route.
Would the $2 million that you're raising currently be enough to get to the commercially viable product, or is there another round that you foresee in future before that?
Certainly not going to be enough for us. The $2 million will go a long way in doing a couple of things, right? So number one is the core product is essentially, see, once we have strains that are producing the proteins that we want, we've developed the initial formulation of making it into milk or skim milk powder or the milk fat composition. It's the cultures need to be improved in performance to be able to bring the cost down. So this $2 million is going to go into working on platforms, the host organisms, to get more yield from them, to drive costs down, to build IP in three things I mentioned: our own platform in the process to reduce dependence on bioreactors, or ideally eliminate dependence on bioreactors in the long run altogether. And then finally, the product itself, which is how can we do casein micelle formation and the emulsification better so that the taste profile is better. So this is where $2 million is going to go. It is certainly not going to be enough before we commercialize. We expect to raise another round after that for us to be able to go even for the first commercialization.
Sure, thank you.
Thanks, Anubha. Thanks so much, Bharat. That was a great pitch and a great Q&A session as well. At GFI India, we are extremely bullish about India's potential, with entrepreneurs like yourselves to become a biomanufacturing hub for the world. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, Nicole, and thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thanks, Nicole. Next, we have Dr. Reena Sharma and Dr. Gaurav Sharma, co-founders of Shandi Global. Shandi Global is developing a true meat substitute from plant-based ingredients for the food industry. The product cooks and tastes exactly like meat and can be used as a substitute in a range of cuisines and formats. Dr. Reena and Dr. Gaurav, the stage is all yours for the next 10 minutes. Best of luck.
Hi, I'm Dr. Reena, co-founder in Shandi, and this is my spouse and co-founder in Shandi, Dr. Gaurav Sharma. Hi. Shandi is not just another plant-based company to produce plant-based meat alternate of few ready-to-eat food like patties, burger, and meatballs. We have created meat substitute made entirely from plants, and which can be produced by the food producers to produce millions of different kinds of food. We both grew up in a lower middle class vegetarian family and represent a very large population which has been vegetarian despite of spending less than $10 a day. This made me believe that the plant-based diet is the only substitute, only sustainable way to reduce the carbon emission and enabling the plethora of the food diversity. But when we moved to Singapore, we found that the vegetarian food was less common, except for the same type of food over and over. So we cooked most of our food at home, and we interested in doing some experiment with the products available in market.
Yeah, but the product available in the market, they have certain problems, and because of the technology. So first of all, we don't have a meat substitute. The product available in the market are just a substitute of certain foods. So all those foods, and whole plant-based industry is suffering because of that. Every product has to be developed from the scratch, which is very different from the real food industry. Real food industry, food producers don't produce more meat. They just buy it and cook it into thousands of different dishes. And this has limited the diversity of the food to very few mince type of foods only. Second biggest problem is that to develop those foods today, it requires a lot of artificial or many ingredients, which some of them are not really healthy. Not only that, but it makes them super expensive. And as a result, most of the plant-based foods available in the market today are extremely expensive. And because of that, they are not accessible to most of the people around the world. And if they are not accessible to most of the people around the world, then sustainability is a big question mark with those products. So we solve the problem by not replacing foods, because every food is beautiful, every food is tasty for its consumers. It is not just a thing to fill our guts, but actually it's our culture. We love our foods. And that's what we want to bring. So we bring the plant-based meat. It's a substitute of meat, which can be cooked just like meat into any food we want to cook. We don't need to limit ourselves to burger and patties only. And so it brings a huge diversity of the food around the world. Second is as price parity. So we don't need to spend 10 times or 5 times to the meat-based product for the plant-based food. The third one is, and that's most important for us being a parents, that it's natural and healthy, because it only has all the natural ingredients. We don't have any E numbers in our, which we don't understand, and people need to Google it. It's only natural ingredients. Plus, we only also deliver the functional properties like high digestivity and complete amino acid profile. Now, making a plant-based food is merely a cooking, actually. It's a good culinary art, actually. Anyone can make a better food. But making a meat which actually cooks like meat, because meat is not a food, it's an ingredient which is most diverse ingredient. It behaves differently the way you are cooking it. And to bring it, it is a huge science. So we started with identifying the molecules which are responsible for this diversity of the cooking and the flavor changes. We isolated them using a technology which doesn't destroy them. Then we put them through a process to develop the meat base, which is our proprietary, and it delivers the dynamic taste of our product. And then we use a whole muscle wet extruder to deliver the whole muscle texture. Bringing all these technologies together, so in our product, the taste develops when it is being cooked. It's a whole muscle texture. It has complete amino acid profile and no artificial or GMO ingredients. This all could be possible because of our highly experienced scientific team. So Reena comes with PhD from in biotechnology, and she has around 16 years of experience. I come from food industry, a PhD in food technology with around 17 years in food industry, developing the flavors and the bases. Now we have more people. Our operations are managed by Dr. B. Manivanyam. He comes with largest pharmaceutical companies in India. Now we have marketing support. So Deepak Singhal, he is a food business head in Tolaram. Now he is part of our board. Now, why we are different? So it's a meat substitute. It brings price parity and is free from artificial. So for both, for food producers as well as consumers, they are high value proposition. Now, we look at the market. We don't look at the plant-based market, which is 13 billion or something with being project. We look at replacing the meat. So we are expanding the market of the plant-based itself. So for now, it's very limited, but we are replacing the head of the pyramid itself so that the market can be everywhere, whether it's ready to eat or people are cooking at home or restaurant and hotels and everywhere. We are a B2B company. We'll distribute our product to food services and catering and food manufacturing via direct or the distributor channels. And this model and the product has got a huge traction. We have been working with most of the plant food companies to use our product into their products. And so we get a good traction from the market as well. So far, we have raised around 1 million from institutional investors. One of the largest is the Tolaram Group, which is one of the leading food manufacturing company, Artisan Investment, Spark Labs, and Evolution Trust from Australia. Using that, we are setting up our commercial manufacturing facility in Singapore, which will be up by December, and we expect to launch our product in first quarter of 2022. And then we are now currently working on bridge round for expanding our product to many countries like Australia and New Zealand for Pacific market, India, because India is a huge market, so we want to set our manufacturing there as well in next 3 years. So we are presenting a real product, which is unique technology, unique business model, and high demand product, and it's the largest market size. So we look forward for the support from all the community to support the replacement of the meat. Thank you very much. Any questions you have?
Thank you so much, both of you. You just heard from Dr. Reena and Dr. Gaurav and Shandi Global's vision for delivering a true meat substitute for the food industry. I'd now like to welcome you both on board for the Q&A session. Let's get started with the first question. We'll take the first question from Michael.
Hi, Reena, and hi, Gaurav. Thanks for the presentation. So I have a question about your manufacturing process. So you are using high moisture extrusion, you mentioned that it's also a proprietary process. Can you explain a little bit more? How is it different? You know, a lot of this fibers, plant-based meat products are actually using HME currently. So how is your HME process different from the competitors? And how also will you scale it, considering it might require some proprietary equipment? Thanks so much.
So there are two parts which are proprietary to us. So one is the flavor base itself, because the difference between the plant-based foods which are available in the market today and the plant-based meat itself, the major difference is the cookability, because today the meat is an ingredient and it behaves the way it is being cooked. So if you are boiling it, it will give you a distinct boiled meat taste. If you are roasting it, it will give a distinct roasted meat taste. That's not there in any product. And it cannot be developed just by buying flavors and blending it into the proteins. It requires a deep science. So we studied the meat chemistry to a very depth and bring the precursors and the property of the meat itself, which makes them versatile. Why? Which are the molecules which react together and they turn into boiled taste or roasted taste and all those things. So we don't just add flavor. So our flavor base is proprietary. We produce it in-house, and that makes our product dynamic for use. So typically, like if we are adding flavor from top, they evaporate during the cooking actually, and that makes product suitable only for small cooking or ready-to-eat food. It doesn't make it meat. That's one of our proprietary part. The second part is the HMA machine, because in high moisture meat analogous is a comparatively new technology for plant-based, and most of the companies are still developing and learning with it. We studied all the equipments around the world, and biggest problem is the texture, which is dynamic. So it is good texture for the mince type of product today. So producing from a standard HMA machine, then it is good. It has some fibers and then you can chop it. But if we intend to deliver a whole muscle drumstick, where you have 3 or 4 large muscles which are stick to each other and without any binders, and then you can tear apart each muscle separately. So that requires much more different type of equipment. So, and it's all depending on your machine's capability and the cooling dial capability.
And not only machine capability, actually all these parameters like pre-production, production, and post-production.
Yeah.
So it's a science you need to, because many companies are raising 12 million, 30 million, 50 million. So I think raising is HMMA today has its own limitation. We need to understand the thermodynamics of the process. Thermodynamics means we need to understand the parameters which influence the production, which influence the fibrous appearance of the product, which limits the products. So we have studied a lot, and I think Dr. Gaurav has done a lot of work with.
Because important is the texture, how it will behave when it is being cooked. So like when you are boiling it, it must tenderize after it. And normal HMMA cannot do it actually. So we also have a post-exclusion process which makes them distinct actually. So these are the two key proprietary product processes which we have patented. And before that, there are a couple of other processes like identifying those molecules. So we use multiple blend of protein to get the right amino acid profile. We also use some of the very unique natural products to bring certain ingredients which are required for that flavor development naturally, not using the artificially. So we have total 5 patents filed for the entire process.
5 patents and 4 international papers we have published, and 3 awards we have won.
Thank you, Dr. Gaurav and Dr. Reena. We'll just move on to the next question now from Samir. Samir, you can ask a question.
Yeah. Thank you, Doctor, for the presentation. So my question was related to price parity. You said that you are likely to achieve price parity with meat-based protein. So if you can let me know whether that is something that you expect to achieve soon or that will be as you scale. And secondly, I think each meat has a different texture, flavor, and as you rightly said, it is complex. There's a level of complexity. So I wasn't able to get a full understanding of your product roadmap because you can't do all the things concurrently. You have to follow a process where I'm just trying to see where you see the highest opportunity.
Definitely, sir. So thank you for that question, and it's very important. So I'll take first part on the price parity. So if you look at the why we can get the price parity, and not in long term, but if we compare to the products available in the market right now from the very first trial we'll run. And it is because if you see the pricing of plant-based food products in the market, is the protein very expensive? Pea protein or soya protein or any other proteins? Are they very expensive? No, actually. Means it's very open book. Anyone can buy pea protein isolate, which is 80% at around $5 to $6 per kilo. And then if you are putting water into it, which is around 60% in finished product, so you divide it by 3, your raw material cost is around $2 to $3. That's maximum actually. Then why the products are so expensive actually? So that is because of the ingredient. Because I come from ingredient industry. In any food product, the base material, which is flour or something, if I compare the price of the base material and the price of rest, everything, the binders, additives, preservative, if I put that price, the more price is actually on the additive side than the base material. And that's the one reason why we can bring price parity, because we only buy the pea protein or the other proteins from the market. Other than that, we don't buy anything from the market actually. Rest everything is produced in-house, like the flavor base is produced in-house. We don't use any binders like methyl cellulose or anything. We don't use any other additives in our products. So that not only gives more naturality, but also reduces the price. But we can't control is the price of the proteins. But
so pea and soya are the 2 starting points for you in terms of
we have six proteins. So one pea is the largest composition. Other than that, we have mung bean isolate, we have a chickpea isolate. Soya is optional because some customers they don't want soya, so we also have a soya-free version. Plus, we also use faba beans for the Australian customer. So we have 6 different proteins to bring the perfect amino acid profile, because we believe like one protein cannot bring complete amino acid profile. So the second question about the roadmap. So, and that's very important to explain who we are. So we are a technology company. We are not just a plant-based brand made with the brand, marketing, actually. We are a technology company. All the fundamental work we have done to develop this chicken, starting from the identifying the molecules, getting them from the plant and putting them into the process to develop the meat base, And that's the fundamental science we have done. Now, so it took a while actually, and a lot of efforts, to be honest. So that's why we only stick to chicken, because studying the chicken itself it took long, and then identifying those molecules. So we started with chicken, but now because we have a very strong fundamental base with the chicken, after we commercialize the chicken, then we will go to the other foods because the fundamentals remain same. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Dr. Gaurav and Dr. Reena. In the interest of time, we'll just have to end the Q&A session.
Okay.
Thank you for that great pitch and the wonderful Q&A session. We are excited to follow Shandi Global's journey to bring diversity in smart protein solutions to the consumers. Over to you, Nicole. Thank you.
Thank you, Devika. Next, we have Anub Haridasan, co-founder of Shaka. Shaka is a food tech company developing a range of plant-based meat products for the Indian palate. Their focus on taste profiling and innovative food manufacturing capabilities has enabled them to develop products that provide the same experience to consumers as consuming meat. Anoop, the stage is yours for the next 10 minutes. Best of luck.
Hi, welcome everybody. Hi, let me share my screen. Hi, my name is Anub Haridasan, and I am one of the co-founders at Shaka. We make plant-based meat for the Indian palate, and we are on a mission to get more and more people, primarily non-vegetarians, to reduce their meat consumption by providing them with a plant-based meat alternative that replicates the meat-eating experience faithfully. Now, why do we need plant-based meat? Simply because rearing animals for meat has serious consequences on health and the planet. We use a lot of resources to grow crops and feed them to animals, and then eventually kill them to get the protein. Now, why not directly get the protein from plants and cut the middleman out? Now, the global plant-based meat through retail alone grew from $3.4 billion in 2019 to $4.2 billion in 2020, jumping by an astonishing 23.5%. Now, in India, this trend has just started, and there is a growing demand for plant-based alternatives to meat, and a few products in the market come even close to providing such an authentic experience of eating meat. Also, globally, there are no plant-based meat options in the Indian cuisine. Now, if we look at why we are the right company to exploit this opportunity, let me show you a video. At Shaka, we have a team of food scientists and flavor scientists that bring together decades of food development and manufacturing experience from both meat and plant-based meat industry. We have combined our expertise and the latest technology to create a range of products that are identical to meat. Now this is in terms of not just the taste, texture, but also the aroma. So now we have a range of ready-to-eat meaty snacks and meals made completely from plants. So these include chicken nuggets, mutton samosa, chicken shami kebabs, mutton sheikh kebab, mutton keema, mutton biryani, and chicken momo. We are targeting non-vegetarians who want to cut down meat consumption because of various reasons, but do not want to miss out on the experience of meat. Our products are also for flexitarians who occasionally eat meat outside but cannot cook at home. Globally, the plant-based meat category has been growing but lacks Indian cuisine options. This is where our products are fulfilling a very important gap in the overall global plant-based meat market. If we substitute even 1 out of 4 non-vegetarian meals with our plant-based meat, it has a significant impact on our health and the planet. So if you look at our team, we are part of M by Square's venture studio, founded and run by Anand Nagarajan and Hemlata Srinivasan, both of whom are seasoned serial entrepreneurs. Anand guides and mentors the team at Shaka and is hands-on in shaping the direction of the company. Sandeep Devgan is one of the founding investors whose Stonefield Flavors leads the sector using cutting-edge technology to create innovative flavors. Manu Chandra is a renowned chef and entrepreneur who has received accolades from around the world. He leads the team on recipe development. Now, I have extensive global experience in the food industry, launching brands and setting up business verticals. Ruth Renita, an experienced food scientist, has been part of the company right from the start as a co-founder, and she looks after the product development. We are now aggressively hiring new talent and expanding our team. If you look at our journey so far, it has been quite interesting. So we are primarily a B2C brand, and we have made our products available through multiple channels. In online, we have partnered with Big Basket, Be Vegano, Vegan Mall, Vegan Dukan, and many more. We are constantly expanding our presence through brick and mortar retail partners such as Food Hall, Nature's Basket, Modern Bazaar, and others. We have just launched our products 2 months ago. I'll just play this video for you. And we are in the process of scaling across major cities in India. We are currently available in Bangalore, Delhi, Mumbai, Hyderabad, Chennai, and Pune. So we are also encouraging product trials by making them available to consumers at hotels, restaurants, pubs, and cafes. So for us, this is not just a brand creation, but also a category creation exercise. And our response has been overwhelming. The response from vegans and non-vegetarians alike. Most of them have stressed the fact that our products taste exactly like meat, and they can't tell the difference between our plant-based meat and actual meat. So this gives us a lot of confidence that we are on the right path. So that's all from me now. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for that, Anoop. I think we can jump right into the Q&A section. We'll have Priya first for the first question.
Great. Thank you so much, Anoop, for your presentation. My question was around the target consumers. So you mentioned that you're targeting non-vegetarians and flexitarians. I was just wondering if you could help elaborate on the price point, and also, are you targeting a mass market or a premium type of consumer? And what have your product trials showed you so far? This is mainly to understand how you managed to scale up, beyond just the metro cities. And you obviously already have a partnership with Big Basket, which is great. But how do you plan to sort of make this more of a nationwide product distribution strategy?
Yeah, thank you for the question. So basically, our products price point wise is at $295 for 250 gram right now in retail. So we are priced below Beyond Meat and those kind of imported plant-based meat, but slightly higher than meat equivalent, which is pretty standard globally. Also, if you go and look at US markets or European markets, plant-based meat generally come at a premium from the regular meat options. So pricing wise, we are trying to benchmark the similar trend for India. Now, in terms of our target segment, as I mentioned, we are looking at non-vegetarians primarily. The reason being that's where the shift has now coming. And that's our USP as well, that we are able to replicate the meat experience faithfully. So that gives that was one of the big hurdles for non-vegetarians to move to veganism, or even to consider partly switching to vegan diet, that the experience is not the, people are not happy with what the current offering is in terms of the meat taste and the meat experience. So that we are able to replicate very faithfully, and that opens up the market significantly for us. So, so that is the reason we are, targeting non-vegetarians as a bigger, chunk of the market. And in terms of price points, we expect the price points to come down over time as the scale, increases. So the penetration starts with the metro cities and the big, bigger markets, but eventually it will drill down further and expand. That's our expectation.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Anu. Next, we'll have Nidhi.
Thanks for sharing your journey, Anoop. Your products have been in the market for nearly a quarter now. So my one question is, could you share any traction numbers based on what you have seen in last few months? And second is, your fundraise slide said fundraise amount is TBD, but if you can share some expectation that you have or some estimate that you have, that would be useful as well.
Yeah. So we have been in the market for a very short time, actually. So we started end of July with only our website in Bangalore. So all those retail partnership that you saw in the slides have been very recent. So you can say in terms of traction, everything is happening in real time right now in the last month and this month, you can say. So we are, so end of July, we were in Bangalore only in our website. Then we moved to Bombay, Delhi. Now we are in, literally, every day we are, increasing some footprint, some form of, from a store by store basis. So that traction we are looking at in two ways. One is in terms of availability, so that we are, we are in a very rapid growth phase, going into all the metros, going into major retail chains, and right now we are around 65 stores nationwide, and we expect to cross 250 stores by December. So. Then on the other side, the traction we can say is
any in-store performance number can you share? Average sales per store or anything that you are measuring?
So right now we are looking at repeat purchase. So from our website we are seeing very good repeat purchase. 20 to 40% repeat purchases we are seeing. So that's one key metric that we are tracking, and the same we are doing for retailers. Now retailers we have just started, so we have only last weekend we did a very massive drive across all the retail stores we have for a sampling and kind of consumer engagement activity. So we got a great response. Even Saturday, Sunday we did Saturday sampling, and by Sunday we didn't have product to sell because they have limited capacity in the freezer, and so we are seeing a very good response. But there is a lot of work required to educate the customer. We understand that, so that's that's the challenge that we are taking on.
Thanks, Anub. Thanks, Nidhi. For the final question, we'll have Michael.
Thanks, Anub, for sharing your story. Just a quick question on manufacturing. How do you make the product today? Are you using co-manufacturer or your own facility? And how do you see it going forward? And how do you plan to scale up the production over time?
Okay. So we do all our R&D in-house. So that is our key strength. We are basically a food technology company. All the flavor solutions, all that is in-house. So so the process is that we develop the products. We have a very good renowned chef, Manu Chandra, who helps us on the taste side, and our food scientists come together and create the product. The final manufacturing is outsourced to co-packers right now. So that enables us to leverage their infrastructure and quickly scale, so we can meet the demands much faster. Going forward, we will look into setting up our own manufacturing setup as on a case basis based on the requirement.
Thanks.
Thank you so much, Anu. That was a great session. If anyone in the audience is curious about Shakahari's product pipeline, we would urge you to get in touch with Anoop after the session. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
For the final Innovators Showcase of the day, we have Dr. Mangesh, founder of Rethink Bio. Rethink Bio is harnessing the potential of microalgae to produce high-quality, nutrient-rich, food-grade biomass for the plant-based meat, seafood, and dairy sector. They are working on democratizing algae as a food source and bringing it to consumers in a range of interesting food formats. Mangesh, the stage is all yours. Best of luck.
Hello everyone, I'm Mangesh Kharse. I am CEO and founder at Rethink Bio. At Rethink Bio, we are harnessing the potential of microalgae to create sustainable food solutions. The Earth's population is set to hit 10 billion by the next 30 years. It becomes a huge challenge to feed this growing population in a sustainable manner and ensure that each and every individual has enough quality food to meet their protein needs. Terrestrial animal agriculture to produce protein is not really sustainable and highly inefficient. Majority of the protein processing systems currently are requiring a lot of resources, and it has a huge impact on the environment. And people have started realizing this, and there is a growing market interest and consumer awareness about alternative proteins. Hence, there is a need to develop a sustainable protein source which can fulfill this growing protein demand. Here exactly our solution come into picture. Rethink Bio is developing sustainable food solutions which are good for the planet and people, using a novel process which allows us to produce high-quality, nutrient-rich biomass in a contaminant-free manner. We are using a unique strain of microalgae chlorella in a closed-controlled reactor system which is proprietary to us. This particular biomass is rich in proteins, vitamins, minerals, and omega-3 fatty acids. This particular biomass can be used as an alternative to protein sources from animals and can be used in applications like mock meat and dairy products. As we all know that most of the protein supply that we consume on a daily basis comes from animal sources like meat, dairy, fish, and shellfish. And in order to produce this meat, it requires a lot of resources and it's leading to around 19% of the total greenhouse gas emissions. In order to tackle this, we are developing a technology platform where we can grow microalgae biomass in a closed controlled reactor system and can be used for various food applications. And this protein is comparable to existing animal sources of protein and has protein content as high as 70%. The novelty of our solution lies in an artificial consortium process where we grow microalgae and bacteria together in a specific combination, which allows us to produce high protein-rich biomass. And in order to make it more palatable for the consumer point of view, we are using fermentation to increase its palatability and making nuclear flavor profile and nuclear aroma profile. And all this is done in a closed controlled reactor system called as Spiralax, which is an efficient process of microalgae cultivation and processing of biomass. This particular biomass can be used for various applications like plant-based dairy products, plant-based meat alternatives, and seafood alternatives. Since microalgae has a nutritional profile comparable to dairy products, it can be used in products like yogurt, milk, and other forms of dairy products. Plus, its ability to extrude in various forms can also be utilized to develop alternatives in form of meat along. And its specific umami flavor makes it an ideal choice for seafood alternatives. The underlying technology that we are using is basically a spiraless technology platform, which acts as an accelerated biofactory for production of food-grade biomass, which can be further processed into high-quality protein. We are using a phenomenon called as Algal Symbiosis, where we establish a symbiotic relationship between microalgae and bacteria together in a closed controlled reactor system to produce nutrient-rich biomass safe for food applications. And in order to enhance its palatability, we are using fermentation to make it more palatable for the end consumer. You might ask me a question why we are using microalgae, because it's one of the best sources of protein available currently, but it's not exploited at a greater level. And it's recommended by UN as the most ideal food for mankind. As compared to conventional crops, it grows at a very faster rate and can be grown in any environment. The best thing about microalgae is it absorbs CO2 from the environment and releases oxygen. So it's a carbon neutral process. It's a clean source of protein derived of any animal products and has a high content of minerals, omega-3 fatty acids, and vitamins. Currently, we are proposing a hybrid business model where Rethink Bio is involved in developing technology and developing food innovation activities. Here, we are targeting B2B, where we'll be outlicensing our technology to other companies who can use this particular biomass in their existing line of products. On parallel, we are also developing a consumer brand where we are planning to sell our products directly to end consumer through different distribution channels like online, offline channels. When you take a look at the market opportunity, it's quite huge. People have started realizing the potential of microalgae and it's coming to the market slowly. The global market for algae-based products is expected to reach 5.17 billion USD by the year 2023. And when we specifically talk about protein market, it's growing due to rising demand of alternative protein. It's valued at around 1.2 billion USD. And when we talk about the Asia Pacific algae product market, it's valued at around 1.02 billion and growing at a CAGR of 7.2%. We have spent a significant time in developing our technology and prototyping so far. Right now, we are looking to raise some seed funds to scale up our technology platform and build a product portfolio in coming year. And in the next year and the coming year, we are planning to expand to other geographies as well. In order to achieve this and build our team, we are raising funds of around 200 to 250 USD. Thank you for your time, and thanks to JFI for this wonderful opportunity. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much, Mangesh, for sharing some of the opportunities offered by microalgae, specifically in terms of nutrition and taste for the smart protein sector. Let's move into the Q&A section. For the first question, we'll have Samir Shah.
Yeah, hi, thank you for the presentation, Mangesh. So I have two questions. One is with algae, this is an innovation that you're doing. And as you rightly said, that even the UN is sort of saying that this helps in the climate function as well, if it's absorbing CO2. Can you just help me out on the technology as to how much technology progress has been made? And what key steps do you need to say to get to a point where you say, look, this works, I can scale this, and this product is certainly doable? Because it's also, I think, question of sort of, using it for texture and taste, etc., to sort of, reach the people who you want to reach, actually. Right. I wanted to understand the technology a little bit. Yeah. And secondly, also, how many companies are involved in the space? Because I've been, just want to help share that as well.
Sure. So, Samir, we have spent a lot of time on technology development. These last 2 years, we have been mostly focused on developing our technology platform. So we have built a novel reactor system at a lab scale, which allows us to produce contaminant-free biomass. Apart from that, we have established a process called as Algal Symbiosis, where we grow microalgae and bacteria together. So we have identified 2 different strains of microalgae chlorella and certain bacteria. This particular combination of bacteria and microalgae allows us to produce nutrient-rich biomass, which is having high content of protein. And once the biomass is produced, we process it in such a way that we have neutral profile. You must be aware that microalgae has a typical flavor and aroma, which deters it for end consumer point of view. And in order to mask that flavor and aroma, we are using natural fermentation process using lactobacillus, so that we can get different colors of microalgae as well as different flavors and different aroma profiles. So we have a scale where we can achieve at lab scale, but we are planning to scale it up on a larger scale. So we have patents for the reactor system. We are in the process of filing a reactor proprietary technology platform further as well. But we require a lot of resources to scale it on a certain level to take it into the market. And for that, we are seeking funds so that we can take this reactor from lab scale to the market level. But when we compare it to global players, there are companies like Algama, Alginity, Cobayan, which are funded by different VCs and in large aspects. But when we compare it to companies in India, there are very few companies like EID Parry, but they are doing it mostly in the form of tablets and powder and not in the form of something which we are trying to do. We are trying to do a consumer product which can be consumed on a regular basis, something which is in the form of alternative meat product or dairy product. So one of the product prototypes that we have developed so far is the yogurt product, which is plant-based and which is having comparable nutrition value as compared to existing yogurt products. It's very tasty. It has very neutral profile. It comes in different colors. So this is what we have done so far, and we are planning to do various other prototypes as well. So there are other products in pipeline which we have already discussed with GFI earlier.
Thank you.
Yeah,
thank you. Thanks, Mangesh. Next, we can have Priya.
Yes, so thank you, Mangesh. I had similar questions to Samir, just to understand what are the other products in your pipeline? Are they obviously algae based? Is that right? So could you help us understand what the sort of source of those products are, or what the kind of flavor application is? You mentioned it's going to be a consumer, partly consumer, partly B2B. And then my second question is, I think I was looking for a team slide in your deck and I wasn't able to find one. Could you just articulate who is on your team and what the sort of experience level is on food science, R&D, and microbiology, etc.?
Yeah. So we'll start with the product pipeline first. So as already discussed, we have developed a product prototype for microalgae-based yogurt. then we are trying to use microalgae biomass with other protein sources and extrude it into a meat analog format. So which is having similar texture or similar nutrient profile as compared to existing meat products. So that's the second product that we are planning to do. And other product is like, since microalgae has umami flavor, which makes it an ideal choice for seafood as well. So there are companies in Western world where they are using microalgae as a source of seafood to develop tuna and other fish products. So that's something we are trying to do as well. And like talking about team, myself, I am Mangesh. I've done a master's in agriculture biotechnology from IIT Kharagpur. So I have research experience in particular in microalgal biotechnology. I have been involved in developing large-scale commercial algal production system, as well as developing validated products out of it. We have been guided and mentored by different experts from industry, like from people from CFTRI. There are business mentors from NCL. So we have been incubated at NCL Venture Center since last 3 years. So we started with this idea through a program supported by BIRAC, and we have been working on the tech part since last year. Now we plan to scale it up on a larger scale, and here we are at developing different prototypes, trying it out, and doing some consumer surveys so that we can understand which product will go into the market first and what kind of consumer products people will prefer on a larger basis.
Okay, and just to follow up on that, you mentioned regulation certificates are also part of the use of funds. So what kind of approvals would you be applying for? Is it the GRAS approval, FDA? What's required?
Yeah, so the strains that we are using currently are already having GRAS status, so we don't have a problem with that. But since we are doing a product as a consumer food product, we just require FSSAI regulations. So we have to follow that, and we have to ensure that all our products are safe for human consumption. So we'll be doing some certain toxicity testing in some small-scale animal models as well.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your pitch, Mangesh. That was great. Again, if anyone in the audience is interested in what Mangesh is doing, I would encourage you to get in touch with him after this session. Thank you so much.
Sure. Yeah. Thank you. Thanks to JPI. And thanks, Samir, and everyone for giving this opportunity.
And with that, I think we can call this session to a close. Thank you so much to our investor panel for posing some great questions to the innovators this afternoon. And thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Nicole, for organizing. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, GFI team. That was wonderful.
Thank you.
Thanks, GFI.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Yeah.